Alright, so yesterday we made that pendulum and we conducted the experiment where the pendulum length was about 38 centimeters, right? And we found that each time we did it in 15 seconds, there were 12 swings. So that was our constant that we did yesterday, or we made what we call a standard. So now what we want to talk about today is what happens if we change some of the parts of the pendulum. So what are some of the things that we could change? Chris?
We changed the mass of the ball at the bottom.
Mass of the ball. Okay. Other examples? Jen?
The length of the string.
Okay,
I
that's a
was
good one.
going to say that.
Liam?
The shape of the ball
Oh, the shape. What would you change about the shape?
to a cube or a triangle.
Any other changes that you'd like? Alright, so we'll look at these. These are what we call the independent variable, because these are the things that we're changing about the experiment in order to try and get a different outcome. The outcome is what we call the dependent variable. So when we change this one, which is the x, we're going to think back to graphing, think back to math class, yay. When we change the x, we're going to get a different dependent variable, which is going to be the y. So let's look at how we would graph this. So the bottom line is called what?
The X.
The x-axis, good. And the top line, or the
Y-axis.
horizontal line, or the
It's
vertical line is called
Y-axis.
The Y.
y-axis, good. So anytime we change the x-axis, which is which variable?
That's the independent.
Independent variable, good. That ends up changing which one?
The dependent variable.
Good. So let's think about one of our examples. Let's say, and we're going to work on our hypotheses that we've been making. So let's say that we had, our first one was at 38 centimeters. Let's say that we are going to increase the length of the pendulum by 10 centimeters. So we made the next one 48, the next one 58, because our increments always have to be the same, like we remember from graphing, and 68 and so on. What do you suppose or predict, or what's a good word for predict?
Guess.
Another word for predict would be
Hypothesis.
hypothesis, good. What would you hypothesize would happen if you made the string longer?
There would be less swings
You think less swings? Why do you think less swings?
because it has to go a lot farther for each
Travels
swing.
Alright, so let's say that we had,
It would take more time.
so we found that we had 12 swings with 38, so that would be right about here. So you think that the slope would decrease or increase when we were increasing the independent variable?
Decrease.
Decrease.
Yeah, decrease.
So we would predict that maybe it would be down in here somewhere. And then with 58, even longer, you would predict again that it would be less swings, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But one important thing to realize is, are we ever going to have no swings?
No.
So instead of creating a straight line, what we're going to find with our graph is it's going to kind of curve off. And this is called an exponential growth or exponential decay.
Wow.
And that is how we would graph our dependent and independent variables. Does anyone have any questions? Liam?
Wait, but what if the string was long enough it hit the ground?
Then that would be a variable that wasn't thought through very well, would it? We'd have to pick a different fixed point to put it at so that it didn't hit the ground. Because that would be changing more than one variable, right? But we know with a controlled experiment, you only want to change one variable at a time.